do a quick video to intro how to just install OADA, get it up and running, and just kind of the quick start guide here. So you start by first cloning the repository. So git clone, and that's the URL of the repo that we've got at GitHub. Once it's pulled all that in, we go in there, and first thing to do is install the actual OADA script. So if you see, there's an OADA executable here. And so you do OADA install self, and that's going to put it in your path and get all the paths to this script correct, so we can run OADA from anywhere later. Okay, once the OADA script has run the install self, then we should be able to go ahead and bring everything up. It ran the internal yarn container, so that installed all the node modules. That's why it took so long. But then once it's all done, then we can go ahead and bring everything up. So the first time we bring it up, we want to make sure we use the dev flag, because that is going to create the initial database with some dummy users, dummy tokens in there. So when you're just trying to use it locally and figure out how it works and so on, it significantly simplifies the process. If you don't pass the dev flag, it will actively remove all of that dummy sets of tokens and users from the database. So that way, sort of by default, it's secure. There's no extra users, there's nothing in there, but when you're trying to dev and you pass it, then it'll just work. So we can just do OADA-dev up-d. This part is whatever you would have normally passed to Docker Compose. You'll see when it runs, it's going to go ahead and actually start bringing up a bunch of Docker containers here. And the command that it prints right here, this is what it actually runs when you do OADA up-d. It actually runs this Docker Compose command. And so it passed the up-d from what you typed into that, and then it went and found all these compose files here and added them in as well. So now that everything's started up, we should be able to try it out. And so the first thing we can try is just taking a browser, and since it's on localhost right now, we have to access it via HTTPS. And the server itself always hosts at the root of its domain a well-known document that kind of tells other services how to find its different endpoints and so on. And so it's a really great place to go to see, is my installation actually working? So if you go to localhost port 80 or port 443 by default on HTTPS, and you go to .wellknown/OADA configuration, and you go try to get that, if it succeeds, it's gone ahead and you've already approved that particular SSL certificate, the self-signed one that comes with OADA for localhost. But if it hasn't, you'll need to click a screen that says advanced and then click proceed to localhost unsafe. That tells Chrome and all the things that use Chrome's backend behind the scenes that we can go ahead and use this one, even though it's not a verifiable certificate. And you'll see the JSON that comes back here. So once you've done that, then you can go into a client like Postman or Insomnia or something like this, and you can go ahead and start making requests against OADA. So the first one to make is we pass the dev flag, so we should have some bearer tokens in there. So we can put an authorization header on and type bearer, and DEF is one of the default bearer tokens that come in when you pass the dev flag. And so then we can go ahead and click send, and if you get this back, then your service is up and running. You actually retrieved the bookmarks resource, and it is empty at the moment. If you want to try writing something to it, you can switch to do a put to that, and we'll just give it some JSON. A new key has a new value. And we can go ahead and send that put off, and it should give us a 200 OK. And so if we do a get back, then we can see that yes, indeed, there is now a new key and a new value. So our server is running on localhost. It's up. We can read from it. We can write to it, and so on, at least with the dummy tokens. Now, if you want to get yourself a new token, you can use a client that we host online. So you go to client.oada-dev.com, and you can put in this third from the top text box for domain. You put localhost. And this will not work, by the way, if you haven't approved that SSL certificate. So make sure you do that or it will cause you headaches. And then we can ask for just all scope. And we click Get Access Token. So it'll pop up with this particular screen. This is the login screen from your internal instance. And the dev flag put some default users in there, including Frank with a password of test. And so because you passed the dev flag, you can click Login now. And it'll ask you if you want to go ahead and allow this. And you click Yes, I want to allow it. And voila, you get back in here an actual access token for Frank's user. So now if we take that token and we go back to Insomnia, we can replace DEF in our header with the new one that we just got. And we should be able to get back the things that Frank has. So Frank has a bunch of stuff in his bookmarks. So that's an example of how to turn it on localhost, put some developer stuff in there to make it easy to hit, get a token, hit it from Insomnia and so on. And so that's kind of how you get started with OADA.